awesome, unexpectedly extended weekend, right? We had a snow day, a little delay. So, I am super excited because up here on stage we have our 4th grade band. And so far they've been playing their instruments for about 5 months. So think, 5 months ago, they didn't even know how to put their instruments together, take them out of the case, and now they're going to put on a concert. It's pretty impressive what they can learn in 5 months. And 3rd grade, I'm especially excited because next year, this is going to be you, once you decide which instrument you would like to take. So there's a few things that we learn as musicians in order to be on stage. And one of them is having excellent posture. Look at their posture. Look at how amazing they are. They are ready to go. We're going to practice getting into awesome posture mode. So 4th grade, relax. Take the load off, relax. Now we're going to go posture, people.
Posture, people.
Feet flat on the floor.
1, 2.
And then, of course, with our instrument, they obviously can't play them in this position. So we have 2 positions that we put our instruments in. This is called rest position, where they're resting. And then we also have play position, so let's practice. Play position, rest position, play position, rest, play. I like to joke with them a lot. So, we are going to start our 4th grade concert program with a classic called Rolling Along. This is also going to sound like Mary Had a Little Lamb. And periodically throughout the 4th grade portion of the concert, we're going to introduce the different instruments and what they do and what they sound like. So without further ado, here is Rolling Along. Rolling Along. Again, it sounded a lot like Mary Had a Little Lamb. So, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to our flute section. Flutes, if you could please stand up. The flute is within the woodwind family. It is one of the only woodwinds that actually doesn't require a reed to make the sound. So, the sound is generated by blowing across the hole and covering the different keys to make the different notes. All right, you ready, flutes? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and... Let's hear it for our flutes. So next up, we're going to play a song that you may be familiar with. This is one that we learn in 2nd grade sometimes called Keys Porridge Hop, which is a traditional folk song. Some of you may have learned to sing it when you're younger, and now you're going to be able to hear it being played on instruments. So here's Keys Porridge Hop. So now we are going to introduce our clarinet section. Clarinets, if you could please stand up. So the clarinet is very similar to the recorder. Some of the notes and the coverings for the notes are exactly the same as the recorder. Okay, clarinets, can you turn your instruments around so that they can see the reeds? So clarinets and saxophones, they make their sound with what's called a reed, and it's a very thin piece of wood in order to help make vibration as you blow into it. So every clarinet and saxophone, they do need a reed. All right, thank you, clarinets. Ready, clarinets? Here we go. Up next, we have another song that we'll learn in 3rd grade called Closet Key. So here is Closet Key. Awesome job, 4th grade. So now we're going to introduce you to our saxophone section. So, saxes, if you could please stand up. Now, saxophone is similar to clarinet. It's one of the most popular jazz instruments, and it also uses a reed to make the sound. Okay, so without further ado, here are our saxes. So next up in our concert, we have a French folk song called Au clair de la lune. was Au Clair de la Lune. Next up is Lightly Row. But before we do Lightly Row, I am going to introduce to you our low brass section. So low brass, if you could please stand up. So in our low brass family, we have two instruments that sound the same, but look different. So trombones, can you hold up your instruments nice and high? Okay, so this is a trombone, and the notes are made by using a slide at different lengths to get the different notes. Similar sound, imagine you take all of the plumbing in a trombone and reconstruct it into a baritone horn. Baritones, can you hold up nice and high? And a baritone horn sounds like a trombone, except it has valves, which look like buttons you push down to play the notes. Thank you, baritones. All right, so let's hear what this sounds like. So now we will hear our next song, which is Lightly Row. So next up, of course, I need to introduce our trumpet section. Now the trumpet is, again, very similar to the trombone and the baritone horn because it's in our brass instrument family. And in the brass family, the sound is made by buzzing our lips together inside a mouthpiece to make the sound. Okay. So let's hear what the trumpet sounds like. Ready, trumpets? Very nice. Let's hear for our trumpet. So next up, we do have one of the first songs you will ever learn on your instrument, a beginning band classic, Hot Crossbones. least, we need to introduce our percussion section. All right, so percussion, you're gonna show us what the percussion section sounds like. In the percussion section, it is not just about drums. There are several different percussion instruments that you need to learn to play when you become a percussionist. And one of them is the bass drum. The other is the snare drum. And we have cymbals, crash cymbals, xylophone, woodblock. Mia, can you show us what a bass drum sounds like? Show us what the bass is. Big boomy drum.
What?
Fiona, can you show us what a snare drum sounds like? So they sound very different, but they're both super important to the percussion band. All right, percussion, you ready to show us what you got? Here we go. All right, percussion, here we go. Now, before we head into our last piece, just a couple of things. This ensemble and the 5th grade ensemble, this does not happen overnight. It takes a lot of hard work inside and outside of school, a lot of practice on their instrument to be able to do what you've seen them do. And they've all worked really hard inside and outside of school. I always say that music doesn't happen. It doesn't happen by magic. It takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of commitment, but with that hard work, music can make magic. And they're doing a phenomenal job. I'm super excited for you to hear our 5th grade band, so let's give one more round of applause to our 4th grade band. So, it was last week when I had this band right here on stage. I said, let's turn to a different page in our book, and we're going to try something new. So we tried something new. They had never seen it before, they had never played it before, and they played it. And as soon as they played it, it was obvious to us all that this needed to close out the concert. So without further ado, here is a Mozart melody, also known as, I'm going to let you decide as you hear it, if it's ABCD, the ABC song, or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. while we transition to our 5th grade portion of our concert. Thank you very much.
Great job. Your voices are turning off, and so that we're ready to go as soon as they are ready. Okay, ready? Let's see now if we're all ready. Looking again for safe bodies and quiet voices. You are an amazing audience. For the 4th graders, let's see if you can do the same thing again. So again, Mr. Sheplioni is here, and now we have the 5th grade band who has worked so very hard as well to prepare this concert for you. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sheplioni and the 5th grade band. Please give them a round of applause.
Willard School. So we are back with the 5th grade portion of our concert. So what you just heard was a song called Midnight Madness. And it's by Mr. Brian Collinges. And he's actually a composer that lives in Connecticut. And this piece is part of a 3-piece trilogy called Midnight Suite. And as the title implies, Midnight Madness, it's a piece that reflects on those nights that you would expect to be pretty peaceful, but then they don't turn out to be peaceful after all. So next up, you're going to hear a piece by Michael Story called The Beast. And while it doesn't refer to any specific animal, it is meant to musically suggest any large, four-legged animal as it wanders about. So here is The Beast. was the Beast. So at this time, before I introduce our last piece of the concert, our last piece of the fourth grade portion, we have so many people that helped make this possible. Not to mention the fifth grade themselves. Let's hear it for the fifth grade band for all the hard work they've done. And we're gonna have a huge round of applause for our fourth and fifth grade teachers. Another big round of applause for Mrs. Soroyce and Mrs. Selena for all of their constant support with us. I would also like to thank the music teachers from the other elementary schools, Mrs. Bryan from Hubbard and Ms. Wilson from Griswold, and of course Mrs. Gemmel here at Willard for supporting us and helping us. Another huge round of applause for our Fine Arts Supervisor and the Berlin Music Department for their constant support, Mr. Tyler Boyle. Not to mention our special education teachers, Ms. Moncos, Ms. Ball, Mrs. Foyer, and Mrs. Deegan for their constant support last year. Now, these next few need no introduction at all. Huge thank you goes to our administrative and office assistants, Mrs. Mahalik and Mrs. Costa. All of the chairs you see are all set up, and this whole place is set up and maintained by our awesome custodial staff here at Willard School. Let's hear it for Mr. DJ and the custodial staff here. And then finally, a thank you to all of our parents, friends, and families for helping us be able to play an instrument, be able to practice at home. Without that, we can't possibly have this. So let's give a round of applause to all of our families. I do really need to say that since I have left college, I've been in touch with a few of my music teacher friends who have music teaching jobs elsewhere in the state, and I just need to have another huge thank you to all of our staff here because you really don't find this many places. So what we have here at Willard is really special. So thank you again to the staff. Our last piece is certainly going to leave you hanging on the edge of your seat. G-Force 5 by Mr. Ford is a highly energetic piece. It features the sensation of a driving force that will just never stop. So thank you again, Willard, for being an awesome audience, and we hope you enjoyed G-Force 5.